Good morning. I am particularly proud to be here today because in 1942 and 1943, my father attended Will Rogers High School. He did not have the opportunity to graduate because he was drafted to fight in World War II. But he was an active member of the swim team, and as I remember, he loved the school very well. And I would also like to acknowledge my wife, Carol, who under the name of Carol Wanrow is a member of the class of '71. In the 1970s, Tulsa began to build new homes and shopping centers very fast. Soon, flash flooding became a serious problem because the grass and trees were being replaced by rooftops and concrete. There was less natural area to hold or absorb water from any heavy rain. That meant water would build up on streets and in parking lots and would rush into sewers and drainage channels much faster. All of that rushing water hit the creeks at the same time, and water backed up everywhere. By the beginning of the 1980s, we were having a flood of the century virtually every year, and sometimes twice a year. I said in my campaign for mayor in 1984 that I had a plan to fix the flooding problem. I became mayor on May 8, 1984, and 18 days later, on May 26th and on into May 27th, we had the worst flash flood in our history. 14 people drowned, 288 people were injured, over 8,000 homes, apartments, and businesses were damaged, and more than $200 million in damage. That's $500 million in today's money. But this time, this flood, things were different. This time we had a plan. We set out to solve the problem once and for all. We assembled a team of experts to fully develop the program, which now is officially the #1 flood prevention, stormwater mitigation program in the entire United States. One of you may applaud, yes. One of the most important planning professionals on our team was Ron Flanagan of Will Rogers High School. Ron has produced dozens of flood prevention plans that have been actually put into effect. One of the successful flood prevention plans is right here on your school grounds, where your practice field is. That used to be level ground, but now it was reconstructed, and it is a detention pond, and it provides protection for many neighborhoods around this area. That is due in large part to Will Rogers High School graduate and Hall of Fame inductee, my friend RONALD D. Flanagan.
RONALD D. Flanagan was born June 8, 1939 in Longview, Texas, to a petroleum engineer and a beauty queen from Yale, Oklahoma. He grew up in Tulsa during the World War II years. During the war, like many parents, Ron's parents dressed their boys to show their patriotism and support for the armed services. Ron and his younger brothers Mike and Danny attended Whittier and Lanier elementary schools and then Wilson Junior High. Ron graduated from Will Rogers in 1957, having focused on history and art. His brothers Mike and Danny followed in 1959. 1957 marked severe flooding of the Arkansas River when volunteers tried in vain, including many Will Rogers students, to protect Riverside and Brookside by filling sandbags. That experience left a lasting impression on Ron, who would do something about it later in life. 1957 was also Tulsa's semi-centennial, and Ron was selected to create a cartoon history mural that was buried inside a 1957 Plymouth and sealed in a time capsule to be opened in 2007. At least the organizers thought it was sealed, but that's another story. World War II patriotism wasn't wasted on Ron, as he joined the Army in 1958, becoming a paratrooper in the 101st Airborne Division. Calling on his creative skills, Ron designed the camouflage uniform that was adopted and is still in use today. His commander, Major General William Westmoreland, sent him a letter of congratulations. Ron was sent to Germany for the Berlin crisis of 1960, then to Vietnam in 1964 through 66 as an advisor to the Vietnam government, once again under the command of now four-star General Westmoreland. Ron was awarded the Bronze Star Medal for valor and heroism in ground combat. Returning home, Ron graduated from the University of Tulsa in 1968 with a degree in political science and public administration. He then joined the Tulsa Metropolitan Area Planning Commission as a development coordinator, followed by employment with the City of Tulsa as its zoning administrator. He formed R.D. Flanagan and Associates in 1970, leading the effort to get the city to regulate floodplain development. Floods hit Tulsa again in 1984, with 14 lives lost and 8,000 homes damaged. The mayor appointed Ron to head Tulsa's flood response and recovery program. In this work, he consulted with experts such as Dr. Gilbert White, known as the father of national floodplain management, and himself became nationally recognized for Tulsa's flood management program. A key member of the team that created the City of Tulsa's nationally recognized flood hazard mitigation program, Ron has received numerous awards, including FEMA's Outstanding Public Service Award. Besides being responsible in part for saving lives and millions of dollars in property damage, Ron's efforts contributed to a favorable rating by the National Flood Insurance Program, saving Tulsa property owners money on their property insurance premiums. Ron took Tulsa from being the most flood-prone community in the U.S. to having the lowest flood insurance rates in the nation. He subsequently contributed to hazard mitigation policies across the nation. Among his proudest honors was the naming of the Mingo Creek Corridor Trail and Greenway System as Flanagan Way. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ron Flanagan.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for this honor, but I'm also grateful for being able to have attended Will Rogers High School. It's one of the great experiences in my life, and it set the tone for many of the things that we have been able to accomplish later. And I'd like to challenge each of you students. You have a wonderful opportunity, and you should be so grateful to attend this beautiful institution that is on the National Register of Historic Places. It was, by the way, born the same year that I was, 1939. I'm so grateful for our particular class. Was supposedly the class that the stars fell on. We had in our class Anita Bryant, Paul Davis, who you're going to meet later, great artist, Archie Goodwin, who is being inducted into the Hall of Fame, Russell Myers, who is the cartoonist for Broomhilda in the newspapers, David Gates of Bread, Leon Russell. Anyway, our class was just, the students that graduated from our class were outstanding, and you all had the same opportunity to make contributions to your community. This university, this high school now is a pre-college institution, and you have the opportunity to get 30 hours of college credit during your high school period here, and that will save you on the average of $10,000 to $20,000 that other students who are not being able to take advantage of this program are going to have to pay in either loans or their parents paying for them. So you are very, very fortunate. But with that comes a great deal of responsibility, because from those who are given, much is expected. And you have the opportunity to give back to your community, and to also thank your lucky stars for being able to attend this high school. I am so grateful to you, but also grateful to Mayor Terry Young, who is the epitome of courage and responsibility in our community. Not enough can be said about what he has accomplished. In spite of great opposition, made the decision that Tulsa was not going to just rebuild back and reestablish the pre-disaster status quo, but we were going to do things differently. The first time in the nation, that we bought houses out of the floodplain rather than just rebuilding them back. Some houses that were valued at $30,000, which was a lot of money in those days, had collected over $100,000 in flood insurance payments. And Terry Young made the decision, in spite of a great deal of opposition, that he was going to end that. And I was fortunate enough to be part of the team then that implemented that plan, and the plan then has been adopted by the federal government, and it's one of the greatest programs that the federal government is now undertaking, and that is to be responsible for your tax dollars and not rebuilding back in hazardous areas, but ending the problem once and for all, and we can thank Mayor Young for that. And I thank you guys for this honor and challenge you as students to give back to your community and make your high school proud of you too. Thank you so much.